Okay, so what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to look at workflow of getting our objects from Maya to Mudbox. Okay, so first up, this is our character staff. It's a little wooden object that our main character is kind of whittled down. It's a piece of wood that he's kind of carved into this little devil character, devil horns here, and his little fat butter belly here. I've got my UVs laid out here, so try to make sure that they're all nice and flat. You're not getting any kind of skewing or distortion with the UVs. You might, but yeah, you might have to manually kind of tweak any areas. But ultimately, you need to make sure that you've got the maximum kind of coverage. Try to reduce as much as possible where you can any dead space within the UV layout or within the UV shell. So yeah, okay. So if you don't have this setup, the sort of Maya Mudbox dynamic bridge, I guess. The other alternative to get Maya and Mudbox working is go settings, preferences, plugin manager, and then make sure that you've got FBX Maya turned on, and then export it out as an FBX. That is if you don't have this dynamic bridge kind of setup. For all the cool kids that do have that setup, you literally go send to Mudbox, send as new scene, and Maya and Mudbox start talking to one another, pretending they care for each other, and there you go. You've got a link between Maya and Mudbox there. You can see that they're updated to Maya, connected to Maya, and if you fire up Maya, you can see they're connected to Mudbox. So it's really, really useful. So any changes that we're making here, we can instantly just sort of send back using this update button to ping the data back and forth between the two bits of software. So this is the sculpt tool panel. So it's, there's other sculpting packages out there, but you've got sculpt, smooth, relax, grab. So let's say you pulled the model in from Maya, you want to do a little bit of additional kind of tweaking. You could just sort of grab different areas, pull different parts around just to tweak or refine the mesh if you really felt it necessary, and then you could update it and it'd send it back and forth. You might need to tweak UVs, things like that. So there's a lot of flexibility there. Material presets, let's say you're working with a human kind of character, you might want to change the material setup to be more reflective of the material of like skin. In my case, I'm not, so I'm just going to leave it white, that's fine. And largely the controls are pretty intuitive in comparison to something like, say, Maya. It's less of a pain in the arse. Navigation's pretty similar in that you press Alt, left mouse button to kind of rotate around, or left mouse button to sort of scroll in, Alt, right mouse button to pan left and right, hold spacebar to bring up kind of like the Dropbox in Maya, the equivalent kind of thing. So yeah, this is pretty useful, pretty handy to have. Okay, so what we're going to do is the sculpt. Starting off with the sculpt panel here. So generally when you pull your mesh in, you'll have the name of the object, and you have this little option here to create a layer. So I'm going to create a layer. This is the sculpt layer. So what I'm going to do is go mesh, add new subdivision level. I'm just going to hit Command D. You see there, I'm up in the subdivision level, and it's telling us how many polygons are in. So there's 108,000 polygons. So there, subdivision level 5, 500,000. Subdivision level 6, going to be like 1.7 million polygons, and that's kind of okay. I'm fine with that. If we were to hit display, there's loads of different options that we'll have in here that we can use. And yeah, turn on wireframe, and it's just going to be jam-packed with our mesh density. So if it burns my eyes looking at it like that, so I'll turn it off. Yeah, okay, right. So generally, I would kind of, I'm ultimately let's say I'm happy with the mesh. If you weren't, you might want to gradually sort of work through the different subdivision levels and tweak the shape of the mesh. So you might then step down different levels. So step down a level. You could just use your arrows, or you could go into there. So use your arrows. It's a bit slower actually doing that. Yeah, so step down a level. So yeah, you might want to then kind of tweak the shape of your mesh. So let's say we just grab this part here, and then if we start stepping up the levels, see how that change has kind of retained itself there. So that's kind of cool. But I don't care about that. I'm just I'm only really suggesting that if you need to, or if you would like to tweak the mesh within Mudbox and kind of go from there. Trying to get that out. So let's go mesh, and we'll just delete highest level. Step down. We kind of want it to go back. So what we can do, because this is dynamically linked, let's just resend it. So just go to send Mudbox, update current scene, and then if we go back, it should. Let's just basically put us back to the start. Okay, so there we go, back to white. Right, so mesh. So ultimately you can add subdivision levels. You can use this to kind of tweak as you're progressing through the different layers. I'm fine with that. I'm not really bothered about that. I just want to get straight in there to the fun stuff, and I just want to start sculpting. So create a new layer. Sculpt layer 1. Add a new subdivision layer. Keep adding subdivision layers. Pretty happy with this. Pretty happy. It's fine. Whatever. I just want to take it up to like subdivision level 6. Because ultimately what I'm wanting to do is I want to use the stencils that I've created from the previous tutorial to look at creating a bit of relief or a bit of surface detail onto the model. So you can see here these are all colour images, but when I use the stencil you can see how we've got this nice black and white overlay, and this is basically telling us that yeah, any of the white parts of the image are going to push out. Any of the black parts, they're just kind of going to stay still or not particularly move. So let's say, right, let's have a bit of reference material. So I've got this up. This is my kind of staff character that I'm using. So I might just want to keep that up as a bit of reference to what's going on there. I don't want that there. I want that there. So I can then kind of reposition this. You can hit S, and we can move this around to sort of fit. You can also then use tiles to allow us to then, because we've created this as a tileable texture, it should be largely seamless. So we shouldn't really be able to see a join. We should be able to scale it up and down using S. All I'm doing there is holding S and scrolling the mouse wheel up and down, and we can kind of just start sculpting in any detail as we go. Right, so that's kind of like the first sort of step of this really. So we're just slowly brushing in detail. If you hit Q on the keyboard, actually that's like hugely like pulling that out way too much. So again, we just want to add a bit of surface detail, not kind of overkill. So we want to be relatively subtle with it. We don't want to be kind of insane with it. So Command Z. In its own time, Mudbox will decide that it wants to take this out, or maybe not. So maybe we'll go to undo. Even though Command Z is the exact same thing, I've had this happen a few times with Mudbox where rather than the shortcut keys working, you do have to go into the menu. Anyway. It's generally a decent program. It's just every now and then it turns to shit. Anyway. Okay, right, so let's get our stencil back. Let's just maybe, looking at this as a bit of a guide, so we've got our kind of reference. Maybe spin the camera around so we can use this as a bit of a guide. We can sort of position this, just use S to kind of drag this around. And let's just make this brush a little smaller. Let's just kind of brush in really subtle. I might want to then change the material because it's hard to kind of pick out any of that detail. Hit Q, so there it's a little easier to kind of see that. Hold Q again, and then so just slowly brushing in any material, any detail that we're kind of requiring. So there we'll go. We're getting some nice. This is just like pulling this information from this image that we've got here. So all it's doing is just this. Even it is just RGB information, but it's ultimately converting that into like just a height map. Okay, cool. Right, so what we can do, we can just flip that horizontally, and we can maybe just work this way. So this might make sense to kind of brush this way. Cool. Okay, right, so good. Kind of brushing this detail in. Let's spin this round a little. Maybe we want to flip it. So get used to using this tool, flipping things and spinning things round. It's what all the cool kids are doing. There are other options as well for sculpting and adding detail to your objects. Just to make you aware, so I'm sure you have all heard of substance painters, so have a little look at that. It's a really, really cool surfacing tool. Really, really handy. So you can see there, I've really, really dropped this right down, and as well, see that this is getting in the way of you too much. You can really just drop this right down, but sometimes it's really handy to have this to kind of match up texture materials, lining up where the bump map, where you're kind of wanting things to line up to. So hold S, let's just spin this around a touch, and then, don't be afraid to kind of zoom in and scale things up where you might need to. Okay, so this is what's really cool, is we're adding in this detail here of this one particular layer. We're just brushing this detail in. So this is one sculpt layer that we've got. Let's flip this horizontally so we can kind of see what I'm waffling on about. So let's brush in a little bit more mesh, sculptural kind of stuff here. Okay, so that looks a bit okay, fine. Let's create a new layer, and what we can do is, let's say we wanted to add in a different area of detail. So on this we've got these kind of belly button. Let's just give them a huge belly button. Everybody has a huge belly button. So now this is on its own separate layer. And what's cool is we can just turn that off and back on, and we can kind of punch it out a little more, much the same as this. Let's say we're not too happy with this, it's a bit too crazy. We can play around with the kind of intensity of this. So that's really, really cool. Let's keep working on this layer. So maybe we want to make his belly button a little bit more prominent. I mean, who doesn't want a prominent belly button? There. So yeah, we're just looking at adding in some nice little details, and take our time with it. We're not going too crazy with it. We're trying to add a bit of character to it, so it's, yeah. Okay, so then again, really, really nice is that we can just punch these back if we just think, nah, you know what, they're not working. You can just delete them if you want as well, rather than just working solely on a layer. So this is how you might go about sculpting detail in. So have a little look at the shortcut keys as well. There's some really, really neat Windows hotkeys, really, really useful. So it gives you a whole range. Whereas Maya doesn't. It's an absolute pain in the arse that you have to go and find all these hotkeys. It's not really helpful. Whereas Mudbox is kind of nice. So you've got Mudbox. Use shortcut keys from Maya. So depending on the presets that you've used to set this up. So rather than having to troll the internet, it's kind of cool in that you can just sort of find it here. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so what I'd recommend you to do is, sort of build this up over various layers, and then once we're at the stage where we've kind of sculpted in all this nice kind of detail, I'm gonna detail this up and add in more bits and pieces based on the image here. Largely, it's going to be based around the bark images that I've collected, and some stripped wood textures that I might have collated. So some of them aren't particularly great, and I've just pulled down a few. Like I was saying before, I've just pulled a few images from the internet. So this is ultimately stripped wood, and I've really struggled to find an image of stripped wood. So the best thing that I found, the thing that I liked most that I found was that. So it's already in. There it is. Right, so just scale this up Remember, you can scale things up. Hold S and you can position them. I'm just like even the horns here up on the character's head. Remember the base layer. We should really try to get used to naming them. So maybe this is base layer, and then belly, and all this will be combined. So yeah, you don't worry, and then group it as well using this. We just then group it, throw it in there. There we go, that easy. Right, so base layer, belly. Let's it doesn't matter on the kind of order of them. Let's just maybe make this brush a little bigger. We're pushing in more detail there. So we're using just images. It's basic again, really cool, really useful. And I'm sure there's some other. Let's have a look, see what else I had, because this looks like it's kind of wrapping around a little bit. So see what we've got. I kind of want a stripped wood kind of effect. Nah, nada. Okay, so hit. If you ever kind of lose focus of your model, just hit A and it'll focus the whole model. So then, yeah, so you can see there, like it's, I should probably have tried it where you can, try to get nice high-res images. So see there, it's just, I mean, as well. So that's not working that great. So maybe for this we might need to create a new layer. So this could be the horns. So just get familiar with that. And then, you know what, that looks shit. I'm just going to remove it, create a new layer. You can see there how it's the white part of the image is becoming more prominent. You can see there how it's kind of, you can invert the values, so rather than pushing in and pushing out, it's hit Q to hide it. Q, and it's going to bring that visibility back up. Spin it around. If it gets in the way, you can just knock this. It's because we've inverted the colours, and it's kind of, Mudbox is kind of saying, "What the shit you doing, Chris? This is weird." Let's just maybe punch this down a little. So that's not working. So maybe what I want to do is, largely it's down to experimentation with this as well. So maybe there's different areas that we can maybe pull these textures from. So maybe rather than just grab some images yourself or whatever. Okay, so what I would like you to do is kind of continue use this, and the idea is that you just gradually sculpt it up in different layers, and then you detail it up, and then once we're finished, we'll then kind of move on to different techniques that we can use for painting and texture, detail, things like that as well. So we'll be looking at using paintbrush and projection for that. Okay, cool. I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully by then I should have my model sculpted up and finished. Cool. Bye.